Hey team. All right, so we don't have any extra homework this weekend, but we are going to do some stuff together in class today. So we're going to be talking about transitional language, and then you're going to go back and actually revise a piece of your writing. So let's get into it. So just to review, because I know you know, but let's talk about it. Transitional language is any word or phrase that helps our writing flow, and it indicates what comes next. So it does some jobs, and the job it does depends on the word that you use. And we'll go through that in a little bit. So transitional language might compare two things, so talk about how they're similar. It might contrast two things, which is where you talk about how they're different. It might show the sequence of things or the order of things. It might show location. It might emphasize something, or it might give examples. So we're going to actually talk about what transition words can be used for each of these different jobs. But first, I want to ask you to practice. So read the paragraph and then see if you can identify which words are the transition words. Okay, so let's look at it. So the transition words are in bold here. So ultimately, right, is a transition word that talks about the sequence, right? Ultimate means last. So it means lastly or finally. When in fact indicates that we're going to give an example, and sometimes indicates sequence just like ultimately does, right? It's not all the time, it's sometimes. So let's look at some examples that you might use in your writing. And I broke them down by the job that they'll do. So if you're going to compare things, you might say also, to, again, and. If you're going to contrast things, you might say however, in fact, on the other hand. If you're going to show time, you might say before, after, during, ultimately, right? So here are some of the options that you can choose from. So what you're going to do is you're going to go back to a piece of writing you've done. I would choose a log. That's going to be the easiest one. And you're going to add 3 transitional words or phrases to improve it. So you can come back to this list. You can pause the video here if you want. You could also go to the PowerPoint and just have this list up if you feel like you need it, okay? So once you do that, then you can let me know in whatever way you see fit, remind, iLearn, whatever, email. You can let me know which piece you reviewed and added to your transition phrases to, and then I'll go back and look at that, okay?